David Stewart here. Last week I did a video on how to buy your first guitar, so I thought I'd go ahead and do a follow-up video on how to buy subsequent guitars. I'm calling them subsequent guitars rather than just your second because you may use these sorts of guidelines to buy your third, fourth, fifth guitar if you end up buying like a lot of different guitars, playing in a diverse set of styles and ending up with multiple kinds of guitars. The first piece of advice I give you is don't trade in your first guitar. Later on down the line, if you start gigging, if you're playing in a band, say if you're an electric guitarist or you end up just playing performances with an acoustic guitar, you're really going to want a backup instrument. It's pretty much mandatory. At least have one extra guitar if you plan on performing because you will need it. You'll be very thankful when you break a string and you're able to just get out that other guitar. It doesn't matter how crappy it is as long as the show keeps going. It's fine. So the first thing you should keep in mind is sort of a price range. So that's first thing is don't get rid of your old guitar. I guess this is the second thing. Price range is going to be $500 and up, $500 to $1,000, or well, really to $1,500. We'll push it out to $1,500. Once you get past $1,500, you're really buying like an advanced or a professional level guitar. And these are really professional level instruments that I'm recommending buying. Skip the $300 or $400 Squire Affinities or the Mexican Stratocasters. Just skip those. Buy an American Strat if you're going to buy a second electric guitar. It's better to save up and get a good instrument than to fall short and save a couple of bucks. So, $500. You can find American Strats for $500, believe it or not. That may not be retail price. You might have to haggle down to that if you're at a retail store. But you could certainly find them on Craigslist for around $500 to $600 to $700. Get an American Strat. It's not going to be the highest quality American Strat in terms of what features are on there, but the core instrument, the wood, the pickups, those are all going to be very, very well made instruments. If you're going to buy an instrument on Craigslist, in the first video I said don't buy an instrument on Craigslist because you don't know what you're getting. If you've been playing a while, you know what you're getting. You have an idea of whether the guitar feels good. So go ahead and you can look on Craigslist and find a deal on there. Make sure if you've never bought an American Stratocaster before that you do a little research on what an authentic American Stratocaster looks like. There's a couple of things to look for, and I may do a video on those. I'm sure other people have done lots of videos on how to tell if something's an authentic Fender or not. So you're looking to buy an American-made Strat. Skip any instruments that are from the third world. So that's the third thing. So if it's made in China or in Indonesia, you should really think about skipping it. I do have some instruments that are made in third world countries. They're not necessarily my best instruments. Some have been very good quality, some have been not so good quality. But for the most part, if you're looking to buy a quality instrument, the place that it's made will give you an indication of its quality. American-made Fenders are made in Corona, California. They're very high-quality instruments, even though they are bolt-on neck. Likewise, actual Gibsons, as opposed to Epiphones, are made here in America. They are just a better quality instrument than the Korean-made Epiphones. Some Korean-made instruments around $500 are going to be worth the money. Just use your judgment. Since you've been playing a while, you'll have an idea of what a good guitar really is. Japanese-made Ibanez and ESP guitars are going to be very, very good in that $500 to $1,500 price range. And again, if what you want is an ESP, save up for it. Don't just buy crap and expect it to be what you want. It's better to save up and keep working on a student instrument and get what you want for your second guitar than to buy like lots of $400 or $500 guitars because they'll never be what you really want them to be. Spain is another country to look at if you're buying a flamenco guitar or a classical guitar. If you're buying a Cordoba, which is a brand I recommend, I played Cordoba for many years, gigged on it a lot. It was always sort of my outdoor guitar, even when I had very, very nice concert guitars that I could go to instead of my Cordoba. Cordoba was a champ. It really took a beating. And it was made in Spain. It was very solid. And I have another Spanish-made sort of intermediate level guitar that's also very good, made by a brand called Esteve. So both of those were good. And Ramirez would be sort of the third brand that I can think of from Spain that has factories there. Those are all going to be very good quality intermediate level classical guitar instruments or flamenco guitar. They're not going to have French polish like on a very nice instrument. So That's sort of the fourth thing is once you get past that $1,500 price range, you should really change your objectives of what you're shopping for. You shouldn't shop for a factory instrument anymore. In fact, I wouldn't recommend spending money between the $1,500 and say $3,000 price range, unless you're being very careful about what you're getting. And the reason for that is that the $2,000 guitars are simply not that much better than a $1,500 guitar or even a $1,000 guitar. You can go in and buy an American-made Strat for $600, and it is every bit as good as the Eric Clapton Signature for $2,500. There's just not any quality difference. What's different is the name, maybe the pickups. Once you become an advanced electric guitar player, you're gonna decide on specific pickups that are you. I play with very specific kinds of pickups. I always switch the pickups out of my guitar. I never play with stock pickups except in a very, very select few instruments. And those instruments generally happen to be stocked with the exact pickups that I wanted to put in them. So, just in general, you might end up switching out the pickups. So you don't need to buy a $3,000 Les Paul Standard. You're just not going to get your money out of it. You'd be better off buying a Les Paul Studio. It's $1,500. It's the same guitar without as nice a looks, but it sounds just as good. And once you become an advanced player, you might end up wanting to switch the pickups out anyway. For a classical or flamenco guitarist, once you get past that, say, $1,500 Cordoba or Ramirez, you should really, really, really avoid buying anything more than $1,500 that's a factory-made guitar. So the Cordobas, the Ramirez's, the Rodriguez's, whatever. Don't buy factory-made guitars and spend more than $1,500. You will not get your money's worth. When you are truly a professional player and you really want to buy a high-quality classical or flamenco guitar, have a luthier make you one. Shop around for luthiers, play their guitars. And the reason you want a handmade guitar is you will, first of all, get your money's worth. It is a completely different level of playing. My concert guitars are 10 times better than anything that comes out of a Cordoba factory, and they're really not that much more expensive. You can buy a Kenny Hill for $3,500. It plays much, 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 much better than a comparable $3,500 instrument from Cordoba or Ramirez. Just 10 times better, louder, better sound. And that's kind of owing to the French polish. If you buy a very, very nice classical guitar, you're going to want to buy one with French polish. It's a very thin, light finish that isn't really put on factory guitars. They usually put that thick kind of shellac or lacquer on them. So make sure that you buy a very, very nice instrument for your top-level professional instrument, especially if you're buying a classical guitar. If you're buying electric guitars, don't spend more than $1,500 unless you're getting a really serious custom luthier-made instrument. You're just not going to get your money out of it. So look to spend at least $500 to get something that's not made in the third world. Don't spend more than $1,500 as a general rule of thumb. Be very careful about that. You should have an idea of what you like, what features you like. So when you go in to buy your second or third or fourth guitar, know what features you're looking for, decide on those, play around with them, use your ear, use your hands, find the instrument that you think appeals to you. And if you play that instrument for a while and you decide you need something else, don't be afraid to trade in your gear. Okay? That's all I have to say about that. Hope you're having a good night, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You can send me PMs on my Facebook or on my YouTube channel. I'm happy to answer them. So have a good night.